The question is, do we fall into the trap of the Israelite people? You see, if you pay attention to what happens in this text, there's this plea, this hope, this wonder at God coming. And then very quickly it turns into a blame game and a victimization. Oh God, if you wouldn't have hidden your face from us, we wouldn't have sinned. Oh God, if you would show up, then we would get things right. There is this sense that if God is there and doesn't walk away, doesn't hide God's self from the people, then things are going to be right, that we are going to get it right. That's the challenge, isn't it? And for us, in the midst of Advent, it's easy to jump onto this whining bandwagon. Oh God, if you would do something about those CEOs who are making 400 times what their employees are making, then we could get it right. Oh God, if you were with us and really showing us what it would take to work on the issue of race, then we would be right. We would get it perfect. Oh God, if you were here and could just help us tweak the economic system, then the homeless could have homes. The people who are struggling to stay in their homes, well, we'd get that right. But we all know it's God's fault, right? God has abandoned the people. And yet, as this working through of the anger, of the betrayal, of the loss, of being the victim, comes to a head and then escalates, what we hear are the people realizing maybe it's not so much about God. It's about us. At the end of this incredible lament and struggle, there is this sense that we are the clay being molded and shaped by this one who is the potter. That God has not abandoned. God has not left people alone, but continues to form and reform. And how does that sit with us today? And as we move through these weeks of Advent, in which we look to God being born among us, what does that do for us? You see, Mark, writing after the time of Jesus, still has this vision of the heavens being changed, of this Son of Man coming in glory and wonder. There is still this sense that it's going to come from out there. For those of you who have studied theology or have had this conversation, it's often the sense of what is called kind of the V theology. That God is up here far away, comes down, things get made right, and then goes back up. Only to come back down, right? But we are invited into a new conversation that isn't so much about up there, the heavens being torn apart, or up there, the Son of Man coming again. But we are invited into the conversation here. Here. What does it mean for God, the ground of being, the source, the breath of life, to be infused into what is happening in our daily life? Not just looking up and away, but seeing this Jesus, this Christ Spirit, born into our mix, changing us. That doesn't mean we won't cry out in anxiety, in wonder, and ask for and plead for change. But it means that we look intently and deeply at what it means for that to be born within us, within this world. What are we going to do when the Son of Man is born? How will that change how we function economically? How we care for those who are on the margins? How we look at those who are our brothers and sisters with a different color skin tone, and realize that all humanity has dignity and life and purpose, and that we are deeply woven together. What does it mean for us to ask for God to be made known among us? Not so that the heavens are simply ripped apart, but so that we might be changed, made new. Stir up your power, O God, and come, and make our hearts your home. Are you ready? Are you willing to hear those words? To live those words? Because I would argue it's not about the heavens being ripped apart. It's about our hearts. Our hearts being ripped apart. Individually and most especially as a community. That God might be born again in us. Those words that we sang with the children earlier today. O come, Emmanuel. Let us think about those over the next 4 weeks and allow this theology to be flattened. That it's not about the V, it's about God here now. And to live it deeply and fully. It's a prayer.